Hey everybody, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. We are approaching the longest and most difficult track in this game. And remember folks to stay hydrated, because just a minute ago we were chilling in the mines. But now, we've just been thrown into this volcano, and we've got to get through it. But, let's get through it together. Alright, so, at the very beginning, we have this part here. There's no walls in a lot of places in this volcano. So it's pretty tight through here. But it just kind of snakes along. And then through here is a big left turn. And you'll see me on this right side of the road. And you'll see in a second that the curve kind of changes. We're not just on the right side of the road all the time. And so what can easily happen is you can easily turn to the left too sharp and you can hit this wall right here. This is no ordinary wall because this wall will lift you up off the ground and then knock you into the lava over there, over the other wall. So you just need to remember whenever you take this curve to remember that it changes a little bit. And so what you end up doing is you don't turn sharply the whole time. You have to gauge yourself. You have to watch yourself. So here I'm turning sharply again. Another thing you can do, but it is a little slower, is you can end up grinding on this wall here on the outside, and it could be a little safer, but it is slow, and it's not as cool. Kind of hit the wall there, but it's okay. The road kind of snakes a little bit more. Now, this first little quarter pipe turn here, you do not want to stay on the curve. You want to stay on the flat road. Because if you stay on this curve for too long, you won't be able to get off of it in time. And you'll just take a dip into the hot sauce there. So you just have to turn. It is kind of scary through here. Because there's also this weird terrain that's right here. So you only have this much road. But you get it. You get it. And now there's really no good place to boost in this course. So what we like to do is boost right here past that first turn. Now you can choose to boost here or you can choose to boost a little bit further up and you'll be a little faster a little later. I'm not really sure if it matters, but it can affect this next turn here. This next curve is a lot more friendly, but you can still mess up here. What I like to do is stay on this curve, and what you can do is you can if you're good at cornering, you can corner this curve and not be up on the wall, or you can take your cornering a little easier, get up on this wall, and if you do end up hitting this, if you do end up getting up here, you want to hit the wall kind of early. The earlier the better, because then you'll be angling yourself back down. You don't want to be flying straight up through here because then you'll just end up in the lava down there on the right. And you don't want to turn too sharply here because then you'll either hit this slope or you'll just hit the fire and fall off over on that side. But you just kind of get used to how this road goes and you'll just get through here. Remember, holding up is always a good idea. And then through here is a big loop. And so my speed is about a 384. That's kind of a usual speed. Your speed might be at a 370 something through here, and that's fine. It all depends on that last curve that we did. But so we're just going to go through here. Now, you really want to stay in the middle of the road right here because there's this weird geometry. There's a bunch of these gates like this that are different shapes. If you end up here, you'll just slam into the wall and come to a stop. Or you can go here and just kind of knock your tires up and still come to a stop. So you just want to stay in the middle of the road here. Right here, just go through this curve. Now this is a weird section, but you end up going really fast, so it's pretty satisfying. And so you end up going faster just by grinding on this wall here. Yes, this bike just loves grinding on the walls. So we're going to do that, and we're going to keep doing that through here. I'm even going to turn into it. And you're just going so fast. And now what I'm doing is holding up. I'm going to end up hitting this little ceiling and land down here really, really fast. And so the really safe thing to do, and it's not really slow, is just slam on the brakes. Just slam on the brakes, tilt the bike down, and then do your curve right through here. I kind of messed it up and went a little too far up this quarter pipe. You can see the, you can start scraping the quarter pipe at about this height. You really don't want to do that. You want to be no higher than this line right here. And that way you don't really slow down. But this is fine. This works out. This could have been a whole lot worse. And so what you can actually do is kind of hop over this little orange section right here. It's covered up by the input. You can hop over this orange part, and it's a little bit of a shortcut, just a little bit. But if you're too far to the left, there's an invisible wall you can hit, and it's really bad. You'll just slow down a lot. So we go through here, and I came out of here at a speed of about 220. That's pretty good. You can go through here faster, and on the next lap I'll show you a different strategy to go through here. But now we're in this section, and we just want to hit this wall right here. We want to be as parallel to it as we can, and it'll speed you up. If you didn't know it'll speed you up, you'll save like 2 seconds on this wall and the next one over there. So grind this wall, go forward. Now you can choose to either stay on the straight road and do your cornering, or you can kind of get on the wall there and do less cornering, and you don't really slow down as much either, but it's also a wider turn. So it doesn't really matter which way you want to go. You can do a sharp turn or stay with the curve. It's whatever you want to do. As long as you make sure to get off of the wall by the time you get to this next blue road. And so there's this other wall, which is pretty much the same as that other wall that we had. You want to be parallel to it as well. Ride on this wall and you'll speed up to about 270 or 280. And we're just blazing through here. Guns blazing. And now we have this next turn. Again, you could decide to corner and do a tighter turn, but you'll slow down. Or you can go on this wall, which is a wider turn, but you don't really slow down. So it doesn't really matter which way you want to go. So now we're on this section here. We want to go down with the dip. And then by this point, you want to slam on the brakes at about this point here, and slam on the brakes long enough for you to jump off the ramp. Because when you do that, then you'll have a good enough angle to land on this down slope. And if you do that, you can land with a speed of about 190 or about 200. Your speed won't be any faster than about 200. So that's pretty nice. And now we can go through here. You don't really want to go up on this wall too much because you'll start scraping and slow down just a little bit. So we're just going to go through here, tap the joystick, don't want to hit the wall. And then through here, I kind of messed up and went a little too far to the right, but it's okay. You just kind of want to angle your curve through here. This is another one of those gates, and it's really scary. You may end up going too far to the left, and this little orange section here, it won't kill you right away, but it'll slow you down a lot. It's kind of like the slanted walls that we saw in the earlier track in that one section. But you just want to do your curves, go through here, stay in the middle of the road, go up through here. I guess that's the sky. Looks like it. but it also just looks like a ceiling. We're holding up through here because this is a weird part. Your bike will kind of angle itself in weird ways. So you wanna keep it as straight as you can. Land on this road. Now, this transition, you see I slowed down to about 196. I don't fully understand the mechanisms of that little hump there, but sometimes if you flick the stick in certain ways or at certain angles of the bike, you can come out of here on this flat road with a speed of about 200 or 210. So that's always nice. Now, right here, there's a couple of these little tunnels, and the geometry through here is really strange. There's a wall right here, there's a wall right here, and if you hit these walls, it is really bad. Excuse me, you will slow down a lot hitting these walls. So you just want to make sure you're centered. Go through here, you're at the end of the lap, you're happy, you made it this far. There's this one last, let's get a better picture of it. There's this one last tunnel right here, and you have to be more to the right side of the road because this little wall right here is very deceptive and it is very evil. You will end up just doing a big wheelie and slowing down a ton. You may even lose control and fall in the lava over there. So just stay right here and you'll be good to go. And that's the lap. So really when you do this track, when I practice this track, the hardest parts for me is really just a couple of places. And I'll tell you what those places are in this next lap. But as you're practicing this track, you'll become intimately familiar with all the ways you can mess up. And you'll have a deep fried motorbike tons of times. And it's just part of the process. It's part of just figuring out the road, figuring out the angles you want to do on the stick. You can just watch me and how I do it. So let's watch this next lap. 103, that's really good. This part here, I'm turning sharp, but as you can see, the curve changes. And so it's easy to turn too sharply. So what I'm doing is letting go of the R button and turning for a little bit, and then back to another sharp turn after that little change in the curve. And then you can just stay on the road, and it's better if you miss this wall. If you hit this wall, you'll end up getting stuck on it, and you'll slow down a little bit, and you'll be sad. But it's okay. We're going through here. Remember, this curve is not friendly. You want to stay on the flat road, because then you stay on the road. Remember, just stay on the road. Don't do anything fancy through here. You might even slow down a bit, and that's fine, because that's much better than falling. So, hit the boost here. You could hit the boost either kind of back there or up there a little bit. Depends on how you want to do it. And then this curve is more friendly, but there's still tons of ways to mess up. I like to take this curve easy and just let the wall do the turning for me. Hit the wall one time, kind of back here, because if you hit the wall kind of up there, you might end up angling the bike too much and go off to the left. That's happened to me a few times. So you just want to be careful there. You could either hit the wall like up here, like I'm doing, or just stay lower and stay on the road. Whatever feels better for you. And if you stay on this wall too much, remember, you'll just fly off the track. So you do need to remember to go back down. And then I'm holding up through here, and I like it when my speed reaches 380. That's really the goal here. And also, I forgot to mention, but this is also one of those gates. But because you've already centered yourself, you almost never hit these walls. So now I keep going. you'll see that I tap the control stick down as I'm going through here. It's generally a good idea to hold the stick down when you're going on these humps like this, when you're going up. But if you hold the stick down, you may end up messing up and go left or right, and that you just don't want that. Because if you do that, you might hit one of these walls. And that would be just very, very sad. You don't want that. But we made it through here. My speed's about 260. That's pretty nice. Go through this curve. Have some fun down through here. Go through here. Hold up. Now, we're on this road and we're centered. We're going super duper fast. On the first lap, I slammed the brakes right here, and I was able to control the bike better on that next turn. But now, I'm going to do my strategy, which is a little faster, but also very risky. There's quite a few things that can go wrong. So instead of slamming the brakes, I just want to angle myself to be on this curve. These curves are friendly, these banks. But if you mess this up, and if you don't brake, and you decide to be bold and take this jump, what could happen is you could either go too far to the left and hit an invisible wall, and then you'll just kind of slow down on the landing. It's like a crash landing. Or what you can do is if you're too far to the right, you'll end up just going way high up on the wall, and you'll slow down a lot anyway. So the little Goldilocks zone is to be on this left side of the road. And even better would be to land over here, but that's really, really difficult. I don't know if that's even possible, because there's this invisible wall that you can't see. So what I end up doing is landing on the bank instead of landing on the flat road. Landing on the bank is ideal. And that way, you can go through here at a much faster pace than you usually would. It is indeed a little faster than slamming the brakes here, but I don't really think it's that much faster. If you're a beginner and you're going through here, you absolutely don't need to do this at all, what I'm doing. You can slam the brakes, have a controlled turn, and your speed will still be around this much. It might be about 220, maybe 230. But you want to avoid this left part too much, but you can kind of jump this little gap. But you just got to be careful with it. You have to respect that invisible wall, and if you practice this, you'll find that invisible wall. You'll definitely find it. So now we ride on this wall again, go through here. I'm just taking the curve, make sure to get off the curve, taking this wall, because it's just fast, and then we take this curve, angle down, slam the brakes right here all the way till you jump, and that way you can land on the road at a speed of about 200. That's ideal. And now we can go through here, one of the only peaceful sections. And through here, tilt down. So let me show you that one more time. You want to stay low here, because you can easily either just kind of fly off to the left, or like the first lap, was too brave and went to the right. So you just want to stay low, stay in the middle of the road, do a little sharp turn. I angled the stick down as I went on this hump, kind of just like I did on that loop, on the loop earlier. It helps to not slow down too much when you do that transition. Hold up on this part. This, a little sloppy. Ooh, barely missed that tunnel. Barely missed it. And remember, this tunnel is not friendly. You want to be on the right side of this road. And there we go. That is a 101. That is insanely good. The fastest laps I've seen through here is like a 1:0 and like a 1:02 on the first lap. But you don't have to get times like this. You can get a 1:04 or a 1:05 in the first lap. you can get a 103 on the second and third lap. That is totally fine. That is really fast. Because remember, this is a really difficult track. And it takes patience to learn it. But once you do, it's really satisfying. So now we're just going to go through here, stick into the right side of the road. Not friendly turn, stick to the left, boost. We're on the center of the road there. That was a little slower, but it's okay. I like to go on this left side. It doesn't really matter which side you want to go on. I don't even think you need to hit the wall. But now, I'm going to try this again. This was also a pretty decent landing. It was a little bit of a rougher landing than last time, though. That is something that can happen, but it's not the end of the world. I slowed down a bit. But we're just going to blaze through here, as usual. Blaze through there. Get down, slam the brakes, land on the down slope, go through here. Go through there. That was nice. That's about what usually happens. So yeah, that's the volcano. I've practiced it so many times there's nothing to it to me. But a 312 is a really good time. Alright, let's recap a little bit. The hardest parts of this track for me, historically, starting with this part right here. It may not look like it, but you really need to respect this left wall right here. Because if you turn too sharply, you'll scrape up against that wall and you'll have no choice but to jump up and out of the road and fall off. The next difficult part, remember right here, this curve is not friendly. Stay on the flat road. And then, right here, if you're going to get on this curve, make sure to get off of it and back on the flat road before you launch yourself. Just remember that. This curve is usually pretty tame. You'll get it. You'll get it. And go through here. And then this section right here. This time I slammed on the brakes. But just remember, you can either slam on the brakes and have a controlled turn through here, or you can try to be brave and not hit the brakes and land right around here. Land on the bank, not the flat road. Land on the bank. And then after this part, the rest of this track is really just good driving. Grind on this rail, grind on the next rail, curve. Remember to slam on the brakes up there. And then the rest of the track's pretty trivial. The more you practice this track, the more you'll realize that only some of it is actually difficult. It'll just turn into muscle memory. And then you're good to go. And isn't it just so nice that you only encounter this track one time in Grand Prix? It's in Meltdown. The only two tracks that you see once, and that's in Meltdown, and that's City 3 and this one here. Two of the toughest tracks in the game. But yeah, now that we're out of the volcano, it's time to move on to the final races, the space races. Let's go.